In terms of starting slowly, we've got some stats here which will show you in terms of the issue across the whole of the season. Scored just 13 first half goals in the Premier League, an average of 0.48 first half goals, which is the third lowest tally in the entire history of the football club. So it really is a pattern that needs to be broken, Gorsty.
Yeah, I don't know whether a lot of that, I mean, is it through design? We've, symptomatic of last season that Liverpool grew into games and got better as it went on and sort of wore the opposition out, and quite often they'd be coming away with relatively comfortable wins, 2-0s, maybe 3-0 there. But it's been much more difficult this season. Teams have maybe looked to counteract Liverpool's style in that way, and maybe other teams are starting earlier. And I think the worrying thing for me was on Sunday was you wouldn't have been able to tell which team played in Turkey on Thursday night and which team had 8 days off. Forest, obviously, with Vitor Pereira's first game in charge in the Premier League, and they were coming off a really good win on Thursday night, that all sort of fed into the atmosphere, and the City ground doesn't need much encouragement to really get behind the team when Liverpool visits anyway. But starting slow on top of that, it was just a bit of a maelstrom of all that really, and Liverpool suffered as a result. So they've done well really to defend their own penalty area quite well, like I say, Van Dijk and Konate in particular, but also haven't had so long to work on the game plan all week, and then it's sort of thrown out the window with the injury to Florian Wirtz in the warm-up. That changes the game plan somewhat, doesn't it? And I think that has perhaps been overlooked a little bit, the fact that they haven't got their most creative player on the pitch, and they've struggled as a result. That
is mitigating circumstances, I suppose, within this game, Chris, isn't it? We're looking at maybe the pattern across the whole of the season as well, but that is something that you can point to and go, that is extremely last-minute disruption, has to be a factor.
Definitely, because I think anyone looking forward to the game, I think anyone looking to any game now can't wait to see Florian Wirtz play. I mean, I think he's just getting better and better, and you just want to see him on the ball. So it was a massive blow, I think, to lose him. Having said that, the midfield three that the game finished with is the midfield three which was the best in the country last season. And obviously it does sort of improve as soon as Szoboszlai, who's obviously found a way the Liverpool's best player this season, moves into his favourite position and delivers that great pass at the end. But yeah, it's that's definitely a setback, and also Forest were clearly up for it. New manager, they got rid of an unpopular guy. The players clearly didn't like the previous manager, so it wasn't the easiest, let's say, game to go to as well. And City ground is notoriously difficult. So in isolation, there are, even on the day, mitigating factors as to why the side starts so poorly. But of course, everything has to be viewed under the broader prism. Ultimately, it's a great win in a really tough ground, and it's the platform building on some decent performances in the last certainly last couple of months, certainly look more improved. So I think it's one of those moments that you hope you look back at the end of the season and go, that was a key win, say it's in the circumstances.
Yeah, in terms of that first half, Forest, Maz, could have been 1-0 up in the opening 3 minutes. Paul mentioned the chance for Callum Hudson-Odoi. Let's just take a look at this. Alisson coming to Liverpool's rescue here. Liverpool are trying to break Maz, and then they obviously lose possession. And as I say, thankfully, Ali, like so many times before, saves them.
Yeah, again, and Callum Hudson-Odoi, you feel, don't you, in a sense, from a neutral perspective, for quite a lot of these Forest players. You think about him, you think about Anderson, who just kind of want a bit of consistency, really, sort of with their club at the moment, obviously with an eye on sort of the summer and potentially if they might be in with a shout of Thomas Tuchel's England squad, and they obviously have a point to prove, and they came out of the traps, really, really well, really, really quickly. Vitor Pereira, I was a big fan of sort of how he set up Wolves when he was in charge at Molineux. I watched a lot of their matches when he was in charge there, and he does kind of, galvanise and organise his teams. And again, when you're coming then with a Liverpool side who, for quite a lot of the season, we've spoken about there just being a lack of sort of a balance there, and the injury, like we're saying, to Wirtz in the warm-up, it just kind of therefore meant that it allowed Forest to really sort of grab that first half by the neck. But there's a reason why they're down on the table where they are, because they are able to put away chances like that one early on Sunday.
Yeah, well, things had to change pitch in the second half, and thankfully they did. We'll see the goals in a moment, but let's just take a look at this opportunity for Curtis Jones, who went closer not long after the restart. Not alone, Paul, in having had a tough time in the first half of this game, Curtis Jones, but unfortunate not to get what would have been his second goal in a week here. Yeah,
it's a brilliant save by Wirtz, isn't it? And I think he's got a little bit of history for that, having made the save to deny Son Heung-min all those years ago for Tottenham when Arsenal and City were going for the league. But yeah, I mean, this was Liverpool's biggest chance, wasn't it? Ekitike at the end as well, but the head of the goalkeepers also made a save. But yeah, I mean, just didn't create a whole lot at the Liverpool on the day. And considering the team has gone out there with, I mean, we've mentioned the Wirtz factor, of course, but Mo Salah's out there, Cody Gakpo and Ekitike. They all should have been a lot fresher than they certainly looked. And it was only really when young Rio comes on that things start to change a little bit in that final third, isn't it?
Let's speak about Rio, because we've spoken on this show many times about striking the right balance, Chris, between looking after him and also giving him opportunities. You'll have heard certain pundits after this cameo basically say that they want to see a lot more of him. Where do you sit in that debate?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, when he's come off the bench and he's had an impact on the game, it's obviously fresh in the memory how well he's done. I mean, I do like him in that position where he can go on the outside. And he obviously was a lot more effective against Nico Williams than Mo Salah had been. I think he has had good minutes, really. I mean, there was a game, was it around Christmas time? He had a good 20-25 minutes and he was playing on the other side then. And, it's not, I don't think in an ideal world he was coming into the squad as a senior player, was he? It's almost now he's had to become elevated to that because of the injury situation, and there's obviously no natural replacement for Luis Diaz. So there's a natural clamour to want to see him in the team. I'm inclined to think that the manager and the coaching staff know what they're doing with the young player, and hopefully this might be, the next couple of months might be a chance for him to sort of, build up the minutes he needs to sort of impact on games as he did, because that was, real impact. I mean, that is what you want when somebody comes off the bench. And it's really encouraging. Obviously, he did that very effectively as far back as Newcastle as well, didn't he? So he's already probably responsible for 2 victories by coming off the bench, which Liverpool might not have gotten in the last minute of games.
Well, in terms of minutes, let's just show you exactly how many Rio has had in the Premier League this season. He's still only 17. He won't turn 18 until August, so quite a bit of a distance into this year before he is 18 years old, but 89 minutes in total. Maz, as we're saying, you've got to be so wary of burnout, managing hype around young players. He's a very, very grounded lad when you speak to him, and he's clearly got all the best people around him. He's at the best place for his development, of course, in Liverpool. But would you like to see more of him between now and the end of the season? Is the current approach the right one for you?
I mean, it's so difficult, isn't it? That balance, like we're saying, balance is the word it feels like we're saying with this Liverpool team this season, this Liverpool squad. But for him, still finding his emotional maturity, that physical maturity as well, still so young, like we're saying. But he is that player that when he comes on and you're watching at Anfield or you're watching at City Ground on Sunday or wherever, when his number comes up at the side or the fans see him stripping off, getting ready to come on, there is a bit of a buzz, there is a little bit of an energy, there is a little bit of an X factor. And in a game like Sunday, when there is seemingly being so much frustration and just not able to unlock things, it's natural, isn't it, for the fans, for the support staff at Arne Slot to look to him to see if he is going to be that X factor, come on and unpick stuff. But as the guys are saying, when he's so young and all being well, has a really, really big and important career at Anfield ahead of him, it's finding balance, it's giving them minutes, but not giving him too many as yet, I think.